For the first 15 years I gardened seriously, I replaced the same corner of my front bed every single spring. I bought the perennials in May, confident each time. I watered them through the summer heat. I watched them carefully, and by September some were thriving, and some were simply gone. Not struggling, gone. By October I had already mentally cataloged what I would be replacing come spring. Then I walked past my sister Helen's garden on a warm June afternoon and stopped dead in my tracks. Helen does not garden the way I garden. Helen does not garden honestly. She planted that bed 15 years ago, handed her husband the hose for the first summer, and then forgot about it. That bed looked extraordinary, not in spite of her neglect, but because of the plants she had chosen. Everything in that bed was a perennial that did not need her. Every single one came back thicker and more beautiful each year, without being asked. I went home that afternoon and wrote down 9 names. Here is the truth about perennials. They are not all created equal. Some earn their place back every spring without any help from you, growing wider and fuller with every passing year. Others look identical to those plants in May and die by August, quietly replaced by the same garden center that sold them to you. The difference is almost never care. The difference is almost always which 9 plants you chose in the first place. Today we are going through all 9 together, and I have saved something very special for the end of this video. The story of a single plant that was put in the ground before the Great Depression, and that my family is still cutting flowers from today. That one is worth staying for. If you are new here, welcome to the Gardening Grandma. Hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss a video. I post every week with honest, practical gardening advice. No products to sell you, no fluff, just real knowledge from someone who has made every single one of these mistakes herself. Now, let us talk about those 9 plants. Plant 1, Hosta Sum and Substance, the giant chartreuse hosta that solves a shaded north-facing bed permanently. Most gardeners treat hostas as interchangeable. Green hostas, blue hostas, variegated hostas. They divide them every 5 years, lose a few to slugs every summer, and assume that is simply what hosta ownership costs. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. There is one hosta cultivar whose leaves are physically thicker than every other variety on the market, and that extra leaf thickness means the slugs that turn a standard hosta to Swiss cheese by August simply cannot get through. Sum and Substance. The leaves are noticeably heavier than any generic selection. The plant looks the same in mid-September as it did in mid-June, while every hosta around it has been compromised. Plant Sum and Substance once in dappled morning shade, water it through the first summer, and walk away. By year 3 it is the size of a small car. By year 7 it is the focal point of the shaded bed, and the plant every visitor asks about by name. Give it 4 feet of clear space on every side when you set it in the ground, because that is what year 7 looks like. My rule now is simple. If you have a shaded bed where hostas keep disappointing you, Sum and Substance is the upgrade your garden has been waiting for. Plant 2, Salvia caradonna, the dark-stemmed perennial salvia with deep violet flowers that reads as architectural in a perennial bed. Most perennial salvias are reliable but forgettable. Caradonna is different, and the difference is visible from 30 feet away. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. The standard salvia at most chain garden centers, May night, is a perfectly good plant that flops in a heavy summer rain. Caradonna stays upright. The almost black flower stems contrasting against the violet bloom spikes give the plant a presence in the border that ordinary salvias never achieve. It attracts bumblebees and hummingbird moths from late May through July and needs nothing beyond a hard-cut back after the first flush of bloom to push the second. A clump I put in at the front of my long border nearly a decade ago still produces the same volume of flowers every season. Skip May night. Ask your nursery specifically for caradonna and do not settle for whatever is on the shelf instead. My rule now is simple. If the chain garden center does not have it, A real independent nursery will. Plant 3, Sedum matrona, the upright stone crop that holds its shape for 15 years, while autumn joy splits open and fails in the center. I want to be honest about something most gardening sources will not say directly. For 30 years, the standard recommendation for upright sedum was autumn joy. Autumn joy is a fine plant for 3 or 4 years. Then it splits open in the middle. That picture-perfect mound becomes a hollow ring with a dead center that you either cut hard every spring or replace entirely. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. There is a better sedum. Matrona has purple-tinged stems that are structurally stronger, and the clump holds its shape for 15 years running. If you have autumn joy in your bed and you have already watched it split, dig it out this fall and plant Matrona in its place. The bed will look identical from a distance and will behave correctly for the next decade and a half. My rule now is simple. Sedum wants full sun and lean, dry soil. Rich ground and consistent water make it floppy. The plant evolved on Mediterranean cliff faces. Trust what it knows about itself. Plant 4, Black-eyed Susan American Gold Rush, the native gold perennial that blooms from late June through hard frost without the leaf spot disease that ruins older varieties by August. Most gardeners default to Goldsturm when they buy Black-eyed Susan because Goldsturm is what every chain garden center stocks. Goldsturm gets Septoria leaf spot. By August, the lower foliage is covered in brown blotches, and the plant looks ugly from below, even as the flowers keep coming. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. American Gold Rush was bred specifically for leaf spot resistance, and it works. The flowers are slightly smaller and more numerous than Goldsturm, which gives the plant a denser, fuller appearance through the entire bloom season. Goldfinches visit the seed heads all winter. My rule now is simple. Walk past the Goldsturm display and ask specifically for American Gold Rush. Most nurseries carry it, and most discount it because nobody recognizes the name. That is your advantage. Plant 5, Catmint Walker's Low, the lavender blue cloud that blooms for 5 months straight and quietly fills every empty space you leave for it. 5 months of continuous bloom in an American garden is a claim almost no perennial can honestly make. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. Walker's Low makes it. Wave after wave of pale lavender blue flowers from late May through September, attracting every native bee in the neighborhood, repelling deer and rabbits, and growing in any reasonably sunny spot without supplemental water after the first summer. A single 1-gallon plant in spring becomes a 2-foot wide mound by autumn. By year 3, 4 feet wide. The spread is by clump expansion, not underground runners, which means it fills the space you want without invading the neighboring perennials. My rule now is simple. Plant Walker's Low at the front of any sunny bed, shear the whole thing back by half in early July after the first flush, and watch it rebound and bloom heavily right through September. Plant 6, Geranium Roseanne, the periwinkle blue hardy geranium that has been the most recommended low-maintenance geranium in America for nearly 20 years and that most gardeners have still never heard of. The Perennial Plant Association named Roseanne Plant of the Year in 2008. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. The chain garden centers carry it without any emphasis, which is why a plant with nearly 2 decades of universal recommendation is still unfamiliar to most home gardeners who would love it. Roseanne blooms from May through October in most of America. 5 months of small periwinkle blue flowers with no deadheading and no decline. The sprawling mound fills the front of a perennial bed and weaves gently among the taller plants behind it without invading anything. The plant does not flop. The plant does not stop blooming. My rule now is simple. Find Roseanne, pay the $12 or $14 a gallon, plant it once and watch it perform for the next 15 years without asking you for a single thing in return. Before we get to plant 7, I want to ask you something. Drop your U.S. state or your USDA hardiness zone in the comments right now. I read every single one. Knowing where you are growing shapes what I cover each week, and it helps me give you advice that actually fits your climate. Now on to plant 7, and this one comes with a warning that will save you real money. Plant 7, Echinacea purpurea, the species coneflower, the plain rosy purple American native that lives 20 years in the same spot, while the fancy orange hybrids are replaced every other year. I will say this directly because the lesson is worth repeating. The fancy hybrid coneflowers, the hot orange ones, the tomato red ones, every color a coneflower never naturally was, do not live 3 winters in most American gardens. The Mount Cuba Center documented this in a formal trial. Most of the magazine cover coneflowers in American gardens are quietly replaced every other year by gardeners who assume they did something wrong. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. They did not do anything wrong. The plant was the problem. The species Echinacea purpurea, the plain rosy purple American native, lives 20 years and beyond in the same spot, attracts every pollinator the breeding program ever named on a tag, and self-seeds gently to fill in around the original clump. Goldfinches strip the seed heads through winter. Pay $9 for a species purpurea at a real nursery and walk past the $18 hot papaya display. My rule now is simple. The species is the plant that does the job for 2 decades. The fancy hybrid is a beautiful 2-year annual, sold at perennial prices. Plant 8, Baptisia australis, the blue-flowering native prairie perennial that lives in the same spot for 25 years without any care at all. Baptisia is the closest thing in American gardening to a perennial you plant and genuinely forget about for a quarter century. The plant is a native prairie species. The taproot grows 8 to 10 feet deep within a few years, and the plant becomes a permanent fixture of the bed that no drought, no heat wave, no deer, no insect, and no fungal disease has any meaningful effect on. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. Baptisia takes 3 years to settle in. First summer small, second summer slightly larger, third summer suddenly a 3-foot wide, 4-foot tall shrub. From year 3 through year 25 and beyond, it is the permanent anchor of the bed, no division, no replanting, no supplemental water, and no maintenance of any kind. The blue flower spires in late May attract pollinators by the hundreds. The decorative black seed pods that follow rattle in the autumn wind and last through winter. One honest note, once planted, do not try to move it. The taproot is unmovable after year 2. My rule now is simple. Give Baptisia full sun, average soil, and 3 years of patience. What you receive in return is a permanent shrub-like anchor that will outlast your plans for that bed by 2 decades. Plant 9, the peony, the plant that outlives the gardener, the house, and every other perennial on this entire list. A properly planted peony lives 100 years in the same spot. No division, no replanting, no fertilizing past the 3rd year, no pest treatment. The plant simply does its job every May and June for a century. Here is what most gardeners never discover until the damage is already done. Peonies fail in American gardens almost exclusively for one reason. They are planted too deep. The eyes, the red growing tips, must sit no more than 2 inches below the soil surface. Any deeper, and the plant produces foliage for years and never blooms. Any gardener who has complained that their peony never bloomed almost certainly planted it too deep, 2 inches. That single detail is the entire difference between a plant that blooms for a century and a plant that sits in the ground and sulks forever. My rule now is simple. Plant a peony once at exactly 2 inches below the soil surface, then walk away for the next 100 years. Now, I promised you something, and here it is. My grandmother planted a peony along the side of her house before the Great Depression, sometime around 1928, from what my mother always said. My grandmother grew up with that peony. She cut flowers from it every May for the rest of her life. She passed in 1976. The house was sold. 2 new families have owned it since. The peony is still there, still blooming every May, without anyone asking it to. My granddaughter cut a full vase from it this past spring. That is nearly 100 consecutive seasons from one plant that someone put in the ground before the stock market crashed, before the Second World War, before any of us were here to watch it happen. That plant has outlasted the woman who planted it, outlasted everyone who has loved it, and it will outlast everyone reading this comment section. That is what a properly planted peony does, and that is what every plant on this list does in its own way, on its own timeline. They build the bones of a garden that does not need you the way annual flowers need you. They earn their place back every spring without a conversation. They get better as the years pass instead of worse. That is the entire difference between a garden that costs you money every May and a garden that builds itself while you watch. So there you have them, my dear, 9 perennials that come back on their own terms. Hosta sum and substance for the shaded bed that has defeated everything else you tried. Salvia caridana for the sunny border that needs something architectural and permanent. Sedum matrona for the spot where autumn joy has already let you down. Black-eyed Susan American Gold Rush for the gold border that stays clean all the way through October. Catmint Walker's Low for the front of any bed where you want 5 months of bloom with no effort. Geranium Roseanne for the long season of periwinkle blue that fills itself in and never asks for anything. Echinacea purpurea, the species, for 2 decades of pollinators and winter birds without replacement. Baptisia for the permanent anchor that holds the bed together for a quarter century. And the peony for the bloom that outlives everything else you will ever plant. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these 9 is already in your garden? And which one are you adding this season? And has anyone out there ever inherited a planting from a gardener who is no longer with us? Tell me in the comments. That section is full of gardeners just like you, sharing stories from gardens that have been growing longer than any of us have been watching. If this video helped you, please share it with someone who has been buying the same perennials at the garden center every spring for 20 years. It costs you nothing, and it genuinely might end that cycle for them. If you are not subscribed yet, now is the time. I post every single week with this kind of honest, specific information. No fluff, nothing to sell you, just real gardening knowledge that I wish someone had given me all those years ago. Until next time, happy gardening, take care of yourselves, and take care of those beautiful gardens of yours.